pepper, you start by like pulling out the stem. And so it's gonna look like that on the inside. And this bell pepper has three bottoms, so you just kind of cut it in like kind of down the center. And on the inside, you're gonna see a bunch of like foamy stuff next to the red pepper and some seeds. And you want to get rid of all the foamy stuff and all the seeds. So at the end, all you should have left over is just the red stuff. And it's okay if you rinse the inside of the bell pepper again to like get out some seeds that you can't get out with your fingers. It's also easier than like picking up all the seeds one by one. So I generally just I pick out the biggest chunks with my fingers and then I rinse it. So there's the white line in the center that you want to get rid of too. You just kind of pull it out with your fingers. This looks kind of unsanitary, but it's okay as long as your hands are washed since it's gonna be cooked anyways. And there's a little bit of white stuff and seeds on the inside, so I'm just going to be rinsing that. And this half of the pepper is all prepared. So I'm going to, actually I think just half of a pepper will be enough, so you can set the other half of the pepper aside for later use. We won't be using the whole vegetables today because this is a lot of onion and this is a lot of pepper. So I'm just going to be using half the onion and half the pepper. And you basically chop the half of the pepper vertically like this. So when you're done, you should have pieces of pepper shaped like parentheses like this. And I accidentally cut down this, but that's okay because it's going to be cut into squares later. So now these are cut into strips and I'm going to turn it on its side and just cut it into little squares basically. You don't want them to be too little because then you won't taste them and they'll all be inside the egg, but you don't want it to be too big either because you don't want to have like nice soft egg and then giant chunks of crunchy pepper. The pepper won't get very soft while cooking, unlike the other vegetables, so you have to keep that in mind when you're cutting it. It's really up to your personal taste, so if you like really crunchy omelets, then you can cut them really big, but I prefer to cut them a little finer. So generally this is about the average size of a pepper chunk in my omelet. And it's okay if you don't just like smoothly cut through all of them because the skin might hold. So you can just go back and cut like rectangular pieces of pepper that you missed. Or if you still miss them while you're cooking the omelet, you can still like stab them with, so like if this is a spatula, you can stab it with the lengthwise piece of the spatula like this to separate them because they'll basically be cut at that point. They're just being held together by skin. And also, you have to watch your fingers while cutting, especially when you're cutting like this, because your knife is going really fast. It doesn't feel very fast, but it's too fast for your fingers to react, so you have to be really careful or else you'll probably slice yourself. And I know that from personal experience because I have sliced myself. So when everyone's done with slicing their red bell peppers, can you raise your hand in the participants list?
Yeah, I'm on the actual admin account, so I can't raise my hand, but I'm done with my
I'm done too.
Okay, sounds great. So, next is the mushrooms. It's a lot easier to estimate how many mushrooms you need because they're like smaller than entire bell peppers. I took about 4 mushrooms, but you can do 3. You shouldn't go less than 3 or over 4 because 2 mushrooms is really little and 5 mushrooms is a lot. So I'm going with 4 mushrooms because I like mushrooms and I prefer to have more of them. But you can have 3 mushrooms if you like. So what you do with the mushroom is you cut off the stem first. So you have these little like cylinder stems. You're going to use the stems. I just find it easier to cut the stems and the mushrooms independently.
Wait, quick question. How many servings is this recipe for?
Oh, it's like 1 plate of omelet. It's 1 whole omelet.
Ah, okay, good. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you're not making like 2 or 3 or 4 omelets with this.
Yeah, okay.
Because you can make 2 little omelets, but this is for 1 omelet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna chop the stems. You do not throw away the stems. That's really wasteful. And I think chopping the cylinders is pretty straightforward. You just like chop it in half and then turn it around and chop those in like thirds. So that's 1 chopped stem. And it's really easy to cut the mushrooms really little because they're so soft and they're actually really fun to cut, I think, because they're so soft and the knife just goes through. But you can't cut them too small because they're really soft and they'll get softer while cooking and they would just kind of melt into the egg if they're really small. So you want to keep them bigger, like keep them about the same size as the bell pepper chunks. And with the round part of the mushroom, you put it down round side up, and then you just kind of slice it. You just kind of slice it into strips like this. So you get little pieces of mushroom that look like this. And then you pick up a couple slices at a time, and then slice down them the same way you sliced the stems. So I'm cutting them really small. Don't be like me. So that was 1 mushroom. So you're going to want to repeat that with the rest of the mushrooms. By the way, I should have mentioned this earlier, but if you feel like you sliced your things too big, which is what I did with the bell peppers, I think. If you feel like you sliced it too big and they're already all in a pile of slices right now, you can just mince them by literally just slicing down on the pile, just kind of wherever you want. It's like a nice way to randomly have like some small chunks and some big chunks. I think this is called mincing, but I am not totally sure on knife vocabulary. So yeah, I just re-sliced the bell peppers, and then you just repeat the process with the mushrooms again. Oh, hi. Hi. Thanks for joining. We're chopping the vegetables right now.
我估计高中生该你们讲，这个英文好好呀，不是中国人。我觉得他应该是说英文的。
我也会说中文。
哦，sorry。
It's okay.
英文说一遍，中文再说一遍，怕人忘。
So 我现在在切这些菜，有这些有这些辣椒，有一些蘑菇，还有洋葱。这些辣椒都切完了，蘑菇正在切，然后蘑菇切完的时候再切这个洋葱。切完这个辣椒和蘑菇的时候，可以举手吗
I'm done.
Okay, nice. Aiden?
Last mushroom.
Oh, yeah, good. Yang Chun? Cool. This looks like a lot of mushrooms, and this looks like a lot of vegetables, and it'll look like more when you have the onion, but it'll shrink when it's cooking, I promise.
Yeah, probably just the mushrooms though.
我们在准备
哦，好。你现在准备的怎么样？
我们在切呢，
好，你现在在切什么呢？
洋葱。
哦，洋葱还没开始切，现在你切了辣椒和蘑菇了吗？
切完辣椒了，
蘑菇呢？
切完了。
好，那可以开始切洋葱了。So I haven't really prepared this onion yet besides peeling it. Has everyone peeled their onion? Because it's kind of an important step.
Yeah, I did peel my onion.
Okay. What about you, Aiden?
But I won't be behind.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. Are you done with the mushrooms?
Yeah.
What about the peppers?
Yes.
Cool. We can. Oh, yeah. Do you have like a prepared and peeled onion?
No, not yet.
That's okay. Are you peeling it right now?
Can you repeat that?
Are you peeling the onion right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Then let's wait for Aiden and move on when he's done. Nice thing about having so few people is being able to really keep up with each other. You're going to have half a bell pepper and half an onion when you're done left over. So you can just saran wrap and use for later, or you can just make another omelet when this is over. Okay, could you just either oh wait, you have the admin account, you can't raise your hand. Yeah, could you just let us know when you're done?
Okay, I'm done peeling the onion.
Sounds good. Cool. Don't wave around your knife like this. Okay, so now you're going to prep the onion. So, some chefs like to just cut straight into the onion. We're not going to do that. Instead, we are first going to cut off the ends, so the bits with the root coming out. And we're going to throw that away because you can't eat this part. And then repeat the same with the other end. Okay, so now that the ends of your onion are gone, you just kind of cut into the onion. So I actually wouldn't recommend taking a whole half of the onion, maybe like a third. So just estimate how much 1/3 of the onion would be. 你切掉1/3这个洋葱。Okay, so I have 2/3 of an onion that I'll use later. And so the onion has rings, which makes it really convenient for cutting. So you want to cut perpendicular to the rings first, like this. The other way around, you'd be cutting it like this, but to the rings, it would be this way, so that some of the rings do the work for you when you're chopping it, so you don't have to think that much about making it into perfect squares. And then you're gonna turn it around and then do the same, cutting it into thirds. A chunk of onion just flew onto my keyboard. Okay, so the purpose of lining up the your knife with the rings of the onion is so that you don't have to worry about cutting it into even smaller. So if this were a whole vegetable, this would just be like a rectangle or a box, but because of the rings, you can just kind of peel it apart like this. You don't have to peel apart all of these. So like you can just kind of put this into the pan the way it is, because when the oil gets in and when it heats up, it'll just separate by itself. So right now, the way it is kind of connected is good. And you don't need to do anything to the spinach. You actually don't add the spinach for a while. So just put your spinach aside and keep it in mind. So now we can start cooking the vegetables. I have to move to my stove. Okay, so I have a pot set up. I have a lot of pots on my stove right now, but this is the pot I'm going to use. And I have a lid that is the same size as the pot that I will use later. So make sure you have a big nonstick. Nonstick is really important. Make sure you have a big nonstick pot and a lid to go with it, and a big spatula like this. Mine is wooden, but rubber is okay too. Just don't use metal, because metal can damage a nonstick pan. Does everyone have the tools right now? So nonstick pan, spatula, lid?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to pour some oil. Mine's in a container, but it like any oil works really. I'm using vegetable oil. So you just pour in a little. Think of it as I'm not really sure what size to compare it to. Think of it as about as wide as an orange. I think that looks about right. So this is how much oil is in the pan right now. That's what it looks like. Then you're going to turn the heat up to not as high as your stove can go, but like 75% of the way. So kind of 3/4 highest fire. And then you just kind of dump your vegetables into the pan. Okay, so all my vegetables are in the pan right now. So they're just in there, and very soon they'll start simmering the way they are right now and making sound. And right now, you don't do much except stir it around. Make sure it's all coated in the oil, so it's not like a lot of oil in some places and a lot of oil in others, and no oil in others. You want it all to be the same. So you just kind of stir and push it around to get the oil on all of the chunks. And don't add the salt or any spices yet. Right now, you're just trying to cook the vegetables in the oil. At this point, there isn't much to do besides wait. So I don't know when this will happen for everyone else, so I'm gonna say it now. As soon as the onion turns yellow, you know that it's starting to get ready. And when the onions start to turn a little yellow, I'll show you what it looks like when my onions turn yellow. You add the salt. It can be anywhere between 1/4 and 1/2 of a teaspoon, depending on how salty you like your omelets. So that's what it looks like right now. So you just kind of, oh, this is weird. You just kind of stir it around. Very soon, your vegetables will start to release some juice, and then the onions will start to turn brown, kind of like this. This is when it's ready for salt. So you just you add a little bit of salt, like this spoon of salt here, and you just sprinkle it all over. The motion you would use to add salt is kind of like this, so the salt shakes out the side. You don't just dump it all in one place. And then you stir it around to get the salt around the vegetables so it's not all in one place. And then you add your black pepper. And then your paprika. So the paprika was optional, so it's okay if you don't have it, but it tastes a lot better with it. Also, it looks nicer. It looks really spicy because it's really red, but it actually isn't spicy at all. It just adds a nice kick of flavor. And then you just stir it around. And this is when you add the spinach. So you just take your spinach and you just dump it in the bowl. It looks like a lot right now, but it'll shrink really fast. Spinach is mostly water, so it shrinks into little wilted bits of green pretty fast. So after it starts to shrink, you just keep stirring it around until, I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. For now, you just stir it around, waiting for the paprika, and not the paprika, the spinach to get smaller. So it's already kind of starting to happen with mine. Right now, it looks like this, and the paprika is starting to shrink. And not the, I keep calling it the paprika, the spinach. And you just keep pushing around and keep moving. It's important to keep moving the vegetables right now because they're really hot and they might burn if you just let it sit in one place for too long. And see how they're already starting to shrink? You just keep going until, until they're totally shrunk. They look pretty small right now, but they're actually not completely done yet. Just keep stirring it around until your onions are pretty much brownish yellow. There should still be a little purple. If there's no purple, you probably burned it. But yeah, your onions will be the telltale for if this is done. And my onions kind of do look like that right now. So I will turn off the heat. And even after you turn off the heat, you have to keep stirring because the pot is still really hot. And when it stops sizzling, so when it stops making sound or the sound gets a lot quieter, you can take it off the pan and put it in a little bowl. Don't eat it just yet. We're saving that bowl for later because we haven't gotten to the egg yet. So the sound's calmed down a little, so it looks like this right now. And then I'm going to bring over a little bowl to put it into. If your big spatula, if the spatula you just used to cook is too big for this, you can switch to a smaller spatula the way I'm doing to put it into the bowl because the bowl might be smaller than the pot you're using. If you're using rubber, make sure that it's heat resistant. If rubber melts into your food, that's kind of a really bad thing. Most rubber is heat resistant. If it's not like floppy, then it's probably good rubber. Okay, so I have this bowl of the vegetable filling right now, so I'm just going to set that aside, and then we can get started on the egg. How's everyone's progress on the vegetables?
I'm done. It smells so good.
Oh yeah, it'll be even better on the egg.
I'm done.
I'm done.
Okay, great. So we can move on to the egg. So we have 2 eggs, and then you're going to crack them into a bowl. Does everyone here have chopsticks, or do people just have a? I'm pretty sure everyone here has chopsticks. It's okay if you pop the yolk when you're putting into the bowl because you're going to pop it anyways. So eggs in the bowl. And then when you have your eggs in the bowl, you're going to add some salt. So 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And then you're going to mix it. This is the fun part. It's okay if you don't know how to do this because this took me a lot of practice to perfect. You're going to use the chopsticks and basically whip them really hard until it turns frothy. Make sure you don't damage the bowl in this process. It's really easy if you don't really know how to do it. It's okay. Also, I feel like I should have mentioned this first. It's okay if you don't know how to whip it really fast. If you don't know how to, you would just kind of stir it like this. Anyway, the goal is to have it look really, really frothy and like this when it's done with some bubbles on top. And then you're going to take that to the pan. It's really important to grease the pan first. So I like to use the same pan as I did the vegetables, but you can switch to a bigger pan. What's important is that the pan is twice the size of what you want your omelet to be like. So in your pan, you add some oil. You should use more oil than you did for the vegetables. So I'd say about twice the amount you used for the vegetables. So it should be about, sorry, it's really hard to position this camera right. That much, which looks like a lot, but it'll be absorbed into the egg really fast. The omelet's not greasy. So does everyone have their egg and the oil ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then turn up your heat. It should be pretty high, a little bit higher than the heat you used for the vegetables. And then you're basically just gonna dump in your eggs. Make sure it's pretty incorporated with the oil. You don't want like one part of it to have the oil and the rest of it to have no oil. And then using your big spatula, you just kind of, you keep the edges moving so it's not stuck. So it's not going to do anything at first because it's heating up, but very soon it'll start bubbling at the top and simmering a little. And for you, when that happens, it hasn't happened for me yet, but when it happens for you, you turn the heat down a little bit to about half heat, and then you would put the lid on your pot. so that it can cook on both sides. Because if you didn't have a lid, it would, all the heat from the top would just escape, so the bottom would be burning and the top would still be liquid. If you have the lid, the egg can cook more evenly and it won't burn. Okay, so mine is starting to solidify a little bit and simmer. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to put the lid, and you keep the lid on until you can tell there's no liquid on the egg anymore. So all of the egg white and egg yolk is just solidified. That might be a little bit hard to tell through the mist, through the like condensation on your lid, but if you can't see anything, you can just kind of lift your lid and take a peek. Okay, so mine is pretty ready. It's really fast, so you have to keep an eye on it. So that's what my egg looks like. That's what it looks like right now. It shouldn't be very thin. It should be kind of thick with like a solid top. And you're going to scrape through the bottom again to make sure it's not stuck to your pan. That's really important. It would suck to have a nice omelet and have it be stuck to the pan. And then this is important, on half of your omelet, only half, don't put it on the entire thing. You put down the vegetables. And if it's okay if you didn't pour it all on the half, you can just push it with your spatula a little to only be on the half. And then you're going to it's going to be hard to show this while doing it. And then you're going to fold it over with your spatula like this. And then pat it into place so it won't roll back. So it looks like an egg taco with vegetables inside, basically. And that's pretty much it for the cooking. And you have to turn your heat off instantly. You have to be really careful with your heat for the egg because it can burn pretty easily. I added a lot of oil, so it looks kind of shiny and has the crispy edge, which like is tasty, but you can add less oil if you think it's a little too greasy, because not everyone likes the greasy taste. And then you just pour that in the pan and pour that in your plate. My plate is so this is the plate I'm using. For obvious reasons, make sure the plate is big enough. And then you pour in the omelet. Make sure don't pick up the omelet with your spatula. That can dump all your veggies out really easily. You have to pour it out from the pan, egg side first, so that you don't just dump out the vegetables. And then a couple vegetables are going to stick behind in the pot, so you just scrape that out. And now you're almost done. So it looks really nice right now, and you could just eat it like this, but why not add a little something extra? So you're going to go in with the pepper and just add as much as you want on there. And then your paprika, if you have paprika. So that's it for some of you. And for the other, for people that have their cheese, you just kind of pick up some cheese and sprinkle it over. Don't add too much. You don't want a really cheesy omelet. And that is the finished product. Is everyone close to done?
Oh yeah, I'm done. I just need to do this 3 more times. Hooray!
Yay! For everyone in your family?
No. Some people don't want it, but
Yeah, this is just one serving. To save yourself more time in the future, you can cut all the vegetables like twice the amount or 3 times the amount of vegetables in the beginning, and then just cook all of it at once, all of the vegetables, and then obviously you can't do all the eggs at once, but that way when you do each like egg pancake, you can just put a little bit of the vegetable. Oh, it looks really good.
Yeah, say thank you, Mike.
Yeah, good job. Can everyone turn on their cameras and show what they've made? Looks pretty good, Yanjun. Aiden, Lucy, can you turn on your cameras?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I want to see what you made. Lucy, that looks really good.
Well, I actually add too much vegetables, so it seems like it can cover the
No,
the
that's
egg
okay.
can
That's
cover whole thing.
actually, I like to think the more vegetables, the better. I think that I didn't add enough vegetables, actually. You want there to be so many vegetables that it like pushes up the egg and there's a little bit leaking out. It's really healthy. It's literally impossible to eat too many vegetables.
Cool.
Yeah. And I'm trying to make 2 at once, but the other one, I don't know what
Oh.
happened. I just can't take it out.
Oh my god, no, it's okay. Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend making 2 at once because the egg is really hard to cook like perfectly. It's really easy to undercook it or accidentally poke a hole in it or burn it. So it's kind of hard to pay attention to 2 at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, Aiden, that looks really good.
Fresh cheese.
So
is
thank
the
you
best.
so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
All right, bye. Good luck making the other 3, Aiden.
Okay.
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 Bye.
Thank you. Very good. Yeah. See.
Yeah, see you.
有点冷，